Everyone knows that the Premier League is the biggest spender when it comes to the transfer market. They outspend every other league, every single transfer window, every single season. But did you know that they've also recently become the biggest earners from player sales too? New data from Transfermarkt this week confirmed that Premier League clubs have earned €1.1 billion from player sales this summer. Not only is that more than the Bundesliga and Ligue combined, but it's also the highest figure for the Premier League in the last 10 seasons. What's really interesting about this number is that it suggests that the Premier League as a whole has shifted the way that it approaches the transfer market. And as a result, that could have some huge ramifications for European football in general. When we take a closer look at the league's transfer income over the last 10 seasons, we can see a notable shift in 2020, with income from player sales rising each year. In the space of 5 seasons, the league's income from player sales rose by 300%, from around €450 million to €1.8 billion last season. And to understand why that has completely shifted over the last 5 seasons, we need to only take a look at which clubs have earned the most from player sales over the course of that time. As we can see in this table, there are probably 2 major groupings that really stepped up in terms of player sales. The bigger, smarter clubs like Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, and the well-run mid-table clubs like Aston Villa, Wolves and most notably Brighton. Chelsea and Man City should come as no surprise here, considering the industrial scale of their youth academies and the manner in which they make money from selling young players. I recently did a video on Man City's income from selling academy players, and I have articles on both of these clubs on the Transfermarkt website. But what's really worth noting here, and really is a crazy number, is that since the start of the 21-22 season, the income that Chelsea and Man City have earned from selling players makes up 23% of the league's total. Liverpool have done their best to keep up with their rivals, but the Anfield club instead have a slightly different strategy of extracting the highest price from first-team players, like Sadio Mane, Fabinho, and of course Luis Diaz this summer. The other club are the aforementioned smart mid-table clubs, with Brighton being the most obvious example of this. It's no coincidence that this boom in player income for the league as a whole has also coincided with the Seagulls winning promotion to the Premier League. And in that time, they've earned more than €500 million from selling players like Alexis McAllister, Moises Caicedo, and of course this summer, João Pedro to Chelsea. But what really underpins all these numbers is an undoubtedly growing trend among Premier League clubs to put a premium price on players who have already proven themselves in the English top flight. As we can see in this graph, the number of players that joined Premier League clubs from other Premier League clubs this summer currently stands at 21%. That points to 5 consecutive seasons of more and more transfers taking place between clubs in the English top flight. This is evidence from the very fact that 8 of the top 10 biggest sales by Premier League clubs this summer involve players moving to another Premier League club. So instead of the Premier League going out and spending money in the Bundesliga, Ligue, La Liga, even, Eredivisie or Scandinavia or anywhere in Europe in the past, more and more of that money seems to be getting spent on players at other Premier League clubs. So while the Premier League is spending more money every year, it's also making more money as well, because that money is just kind of funneling around the clubs in the English top flight. So whether it be Chelsea and Man City's talent factories, smart mid-table clubs, or indeed this new premium that clubs are putting on Premier League players, there's no doubt that the English top flight is making more money than ever from player transfers in the transfer market. And as a result, the Premier League is continuing to cement itself as a division that the rest of European football simply can't keep up with.